Hey everyone, and welcome. We're going to give people a little more time to trickle in here, but we have our first slide up from Corey and the Unbounce team. As you can see, they are showing the Unbounce landing page analyzer. While we're waiting, if you haven't used this tool yet, I definitely recommend just throwing your website through the sign-up flow at unbounce.com/landing page analyzer. This will kind of be the basis for today's presentation. What this tool is going to do is it's going to look at your website, and then on Unbounce's kind of criteria of what makes a good landing page, they'll grade your landing page, and we can dig into the specifics of what the report means and how we can turn it into actual insights later on. So if you have some time and you're tuning in, check out unbounce.com/landing page analyzer while we wait another 3-4 minutes for other people to trickle in, and we'll get things started. Thanks.
I just grab a chair. This is great.
All right, hello and welcome everyone. We're gonna get things started over here. If you're just joining us, mentioned a little bit earlier, this page you're looking at here is Unbounce's landing page analyzer at unbounce.com/landing page analyzer. What this tool does, you're gonna type in your website URL, and it's gonna judge your landing page on a number of criteria that Unbounce has used some of their data to figure out. So if you want to start things off today by running your website through the landing page analyzer, that's going to be the cornerstone of the presentation today. What it's going to do is surface recommendations of how you can improve your landing page and give specific insights of some of the changes you can make after we're done chatting today. I'm going to give you all some time to do that. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce both myself and our guests today. My name is Bobby Stemper. I'm the Director of Marketing here at AdHawk. What we did today is we wanted to combine two forces of advertising, the pre-click experts here at AdHawk and the post-click experts at Unbounce. So today we have Corey Dilley, Director of Campaign Strategy. He's been working with Unbounce for a number of years and is a true pro at what happens when someone clicks on your ad, and maximizing the chance that they're going to complete your action, either submit a lead form or confirm some purchase. So I'm going to pass things off to Corey, and he's going to dive into the specifics here.
Thanks, Bob.
Take it away, Corey.
Thank you. And yeah, a number of years. It's actually coming up on 5 years this week. So it's a big week for me. And thanks everyone for joining us. So my job at Unbounce has been to help AdWords advertisers get more out of their AdWords campaigns by using landing pages. So this is a perfect sort of presentation right in my wheelhouse. So let's kick it off. So when I've talked to marketers who have been running AdWords campaigns for a while, I hear a common story that it's getting harder to stay competitive. And that's because the average CPC has nearly tripled since 2012, creating a kind of arms race between advertisers. Of course, it's great for Google, who's making a ton more money, and customers benefit from getting more relevant experiences, but it means that SEM marketers need to stay at the top of their game just to get the same results that they were getting relatively easily a few years before. As you likely know, there are two ways to get more conversions. You can either increase your budget or you can optimize your campaign. And to a lot of PPC folks, optimization starts and ends within AdWords itself. And of course, it's necessary to test new ads and bidding strategies and keyword strategies and all that stuff. But surprisingly few venture further down the funnel and optimize their landing pages. Of course, I'm biased, but I always find it kind of shocking just because there's so much opportunity there. Especially if you've already done a lot of optimization with AdWords, your biggest gains could easily come from landing page testing. My pal Joe Martinez put it really simply to me once when he said, "Ads get traffic, landing pages get conversions. So no matter how good your keyword strategy and bidding strategy and copy are, your ads just can't do everything alone." It seems like people often know that landing page testing is a good idea, but it's just one of those things that they never really get around to figuring out because website responsibility might lie with someone else, or because they have to get developers involved, which is usually a pain and takes forever. I'll tackle both of those obstacles soon, but know that those who do figure it out, who do test their landing pages, get more control over their quality score, they get higher conversion rates, they get an edge over their competitors, and they get more options for tests. And that last one is a really interesting side benefit of taking control of your landing pages. In the same way that you may have started using something like Excel, like a different tool for one thing, but as you could rely on it more, it fundamentally changed the way you worked. If you can quickly launch landing pages yourself, you can test pretty much anything you want. Life gets a bit sweeter once you have that tool in your belt. So within the next 30 minutes, with the help of our landing page analyzer, I'm going to run you through a number of ways to improve your current landing page. And then we'll introduce you to Unbounce, showing you an easy way to implement those changes. Before I dive right into landing page tests that you should consider, though, you should understand the source of the information. All the best practices that I'm going to present are a result of us both teaching customers how to be successful using our dedicated landing pages and observing what's working and what isn't across our whole customer base. And some of our customers are some of the best, like AdWords and landing page pros in the business. So it's been really humbling learning from them as well. Unbounce is cloud-based software that gives marketers a way to build and test landing pages and pop-ups so they can get more conversions from their paid traffic without needing a developer. We've been obsessing about conversions for over 8 years now. With Unbounce, search engine marketers can start from one of our 125 templates with the best practices that I'm about to present built in, and then modify it so it looks exactly like a page on their website, but it converts better than their website. Since 2012, more than 240,000 marketers, since 2008, more than 240,000 marketers have used Unbounce to drive about 5 billion visits to 1.5 million landing pages, resulting in 328 million conversions. And really, like, all of this is to say that we've got a lot of data to analyze. So on top of the best practices I'll present to you shortly, we've begun investing in artificial intelligence to take the data that we've accrued and use it to improve our customers' landing pages. The first thing our AI teams delivered were industry benchmarks, which we worked those into the landing page analyzer. I can't get into too much detail about what the future of AI holds at Unbounce, but suffice it to say that in the future, our landing pages will leverage a vast amount of data to help you improve conversion rates automatically. By the way, if you were ever curious what's considered a good conversion rate in each industry, take a screenshot of this slide. You should be shooting for the top quartile in your industry, which is between the two numbers in the bubbles. So for example, if you're in the travel industry, shoot for between 11 and 25%, because honestly, people just aren't doing that good of a job at landing page testing right now. And so you could easily come out at the top of the industry. So let's dig into how, how to improve your specific landing page. First, I'm going to show you where to find advice specific to your page, and then I'll show you a checklist that you can follow no matter what landing page you're testing. So in your analyzer report, there's a section with the top 3 recommendations to improve your score. It's tailored entirely to your page, so I'd highly recommend just following that advice as a good place to start. Some of our customers have told us that just implementing that advice alone has been enough to lift their conversion rates significantly. However, there's one variable that the analyzer just admittedly isn't great at addressing yet. It's tough for the analyzer to dig into a page's design. So I'm going to walk you through the design of a landing page in more detail. After analyzing thousands of different pages, we've broken down landing pages into 5 elements that are common on every single page. Each element plays a different role in converting the visitor. I'll present the page elements as a 5-point checklist that you can use to ensure that your landing page has everything the prospect looks for when deciding if they'd like to take you up on your offer. Up first is the hero shot. The hero shot is simply a visual representation of whatever it is you're offering. It can help people gain a better understanding of what your product is and what it looks like. Often you'll see people with a generic stock photo or a background video that they think looks cool because they know that they need something there, but they just don't know what to use. I hope I can provide some guidance as to some better options. First off, in terms of best practices, stock photos are lazy. A few people pointing at a computer screen with a line graph going up or a close-up of a lady smiling while eating salad are okay, I guess, but it's just sort of a wasted opportunity. A hero shot should provide an opportunity to quickly communicate either what your offer is or the benefit it provides. And the best way to communicate what your offer is just by showing the thing in use. So if it's an ebook you're offering, show a mock-up of a book. If it's real estate, show the key differentiating feature of the property. So like in this example on the left where they're showing sweeping views of the ocean and city. And if you do use people in your hero shot, have the people face the CTA on the page because a visitor's eyes are generally drawn in the direction that the person in the image is facing. Videos can be effective, but not always. There's no universal truth there, so you kind of just have to test it. And but do stay away from the videos where the backgrounds are on a loop because they're usually just really distracting and it becomes tough for people to read the copy. Second is the value prop. Typically, this comes in the form of a headline and possibly a subhead. The value prop serves 2 distinct functions simultaneously. First, it acts as a confirmation that the visitor ended up on the right page and they can indeed act upon the ad that they saw. And second, it should clearly communicate what it is that you're offering. So in the example on the screen, it's very clear that if a person fills out the form, they're going to be scheduling a suite tour for a waterfront condo. In terms of headline best practices, communicating that the visitor can act upon the promise made in the ad is really just as simple as repeating the message in the ad within the headline. Sometimes people overcomplicate their headline and ask a question or try to make it rhyme or just generally try to do something that they think is clever, but instead just strive to be clear. And differentiate yourself from alternatives and competitors, not necessarily by speaking about them directly, but just mention why someone would choose your offer instead. I've included a link here to a blog post that I refer to often. Joanna Weeb from Copy Hacker suggests 5 headline formulas that you can use, and I find them as a great starting point. They don't necessarily always make it into the landing page that I'm creating, but it'll at least give you a whole bunch of really good ideas. Up third is your call to action. Your call to action can simply be described as the thing that you want your visitor to do. Everything on the page should provide reasons as to why the visitor should do that one thing. In this case, the call to action is booking a suite tour by filling out the form. All the copy, images, and videos on the page are simply providing reasons as to why the person should fill out that form and book the tour. In terms of best practices for CTAs, first, keep the number of CTAs to 1. though you may want to repeat the CTA in a number of places, but it's just so that it's always accessible. But if you give the prospect 2 options, they might just leave and go do something else on the website, which you don't want them to do. And if you give them 1 option and they leave anyway, then you can always just retarget them. If you're collecting a lead, only collect data that you're going to use in a meaningful way. So while there are exceptions to the rule, typically the more info you ask of a person, the less likely they are to provide it. You also want to set an expectation for what's going to happen after the prospect converts. In this case, it's natural to expect that after the form is filled out, they will have booked a tour. That's partially accomplished by the copy on the button. You just don't get the same effect if you use generic copy like submit. A good way to set that expectation is by finishing the sentence, "I want to blank," and that blank is the copy that goes on the button. So in this case, I want to request a tour. Fourth are the benefit statements. A product's benefits are simply a description of what the prospect will be able to do after they take you up on your offer. It's the next thing you want to address as soon as the person understands what your offer is. People often ask, how long should my landing page be? And I usually answer by saying, as long as it needs to be to clearly communicate the important benefits of your offer and no longer. Be as concise and clear as possible with your benefits. Bullet points are often a good idea. And of course, there are instances where you're going to need a long form landing page if you have a really complex offer that takes a long time to explain. And that's fine. It's just, different scenarios call for different lengths of pages. And last is social proof. Social proof is what communicates to your customers that there's little risk with your product because others like them have been satisfied with what you're offering. There are many different kinds of social proof that you might use depending on what would signal low risk in your prospect's mind. Customer testimonials, including the number of offers redeemed, trust seals, accreditations. These are all sorts of things that could work in different scenarios. And again, it really just depends on the industry. Sometimes you want to use a testimonial. Sometimes you want to use sort of like an unbiased third party pointing out how credible you are. But signaling low risk is the key here. And if you can ensure that those 5 elements are present on your landing page and you're following the best practices, you're generally off to a really good start. I think often designers get intimidated by landing page testing because they don't feel that they have the skill set to pull it off. But when you're designing for conversions, clarity is more important than fancy aesthetics. So if you use the suggestions from the analyzer and the best practices that we just reviewed to launch a decent page and then just A/B test the crap out of it until it's converting like crazy, I think you'll be off to the races. Which brings me to the conclusion: how to start testing your landing pages. In theory, you could optimize the page that you're currently sending traffic to, but if you're sending traffic to your website or a client's website, getting approvals are generally pretty tough, and changing the website may negatively impact how your organic traffic converts. If you split your PPC landing pages out from your website, you can let both do the job that they were meant to do. Because a website plays a very important role in a business, but it's a fundamentally different role than your PPC landing pages. So to break it down, websites are optimized for organic traffic, while landing pages are optimized for ad traffic. Websites aim to provide easy explorations so someone can find whatever it is that they're looking for, but landing pages are designed around a single conversion goal. A company's website is generally a hot mess of stakeholders because the stakes are so high, whereas the stakes are much lower for campaign-specific landing pages, so you don't need to buy-in from like everyone and their boss just to make a change. And although coding landing pages in your CMS is entirely an option, it takes a really long time and it's a tedious task for developers who could be spending their time doing something more complex. If you were to use a tool like Unbounce, you could make pages that look exactly like the ones on your website, but organic traffic can't find them and they convert better. You could build the pages yourself without a developer, and you can put them either on the same domain as your website, or you can just use a subdomain. Either way, you can add your Google Analytics and AdWords conversion tags and track them the same as you normally would. It's often easiest to start from one of our templates that has the best practices built in, and then just customize it to match your website. Once you get a couple pages built, you can just duplicate those and fire up new pages really, really quickly. So I've got a few sort of case studies here to show you how others have done it. F&M Amazing is going to kick us off. They're a digital marketing agency based in Orlando, Florida. To increase the leads that their client was receiving, they positioned some of their clients' existing content as an ebook. So they just repurposed some blog posts, put it in an ebook sort of package. They created a landing page for it, and then they started testing their brand new lead, like their brand new asset that acted as a lead gen asset, which started converting at 44% right out of the gate. To pull it off, they just picked an ebook Unbounce template, customized it, and published it to their client's domain. It took less than 3 hours to execute. Andrew Miller of Workshop Digital has been a great example of what a PPC agency can do when they really embrace landing page testing. So he saw that no matter how much optimization they did within their AdWords accounts, eventually they started to see diminishing returns and conversion rates would plateau. He started testing out landing pages with Unbounce, and through A/B testing different variants, managed to achieve a 22% conversion rate, which was 4 times higher and generated 4 times more conversions than they were previously getting without touching the ad spend. And speaking of A/B testing, this is actually really quick. I considered putting together some slides to show you this, but it's actually faster if I just show you how to set up an A/B test right in the app. So if you take a look at, hopefully you can still see my screen. This is one of our ebooks. If you go into the back end, I can show you this is what it looks like in the builder. If you want to set up an A/B test, you can just duplicate this. Change something on page, so I'll change the subhead, your guide to, we'll just say, better landing pages. Save it. And then you go back to the overview, which will show you all the different versions of the page that you have. And then here you've got the weight. So this is the old version is currently getting 100% of traffic. Oops. And republish. And so now anyone who goes to this page will see, half of them will see the old version and half of them will see the new version. So you can set up pages really, really quickly. As long as you have the right tools, it doesn't have to be a really complicated task. Or if you think that you're good, that getting approval for landing pages might be an uphill battle, you can just cheat. Unbounce also has a product. You can also build pop-ups and sticky bars within Unbounce, and you can put those on any page in your website. So you could just create a pop-up with a secondary CTA and trigger it when someone's going to leave the page that you're already sending traffic to. You'll convert a percentage of people who are going to leave anyway, effectively just getting more conversions without increasing ad spend. Campaign monitors been seeing success with exactly that strategy. By triggering a pop-up on an existing page, they were able to convert 271 new leads per month who would have otherwise just left the site. Similarly to FN Amazing, they started from a template, in this case it was a pop-up template, modified it to match their brand, set the trigger so that it appeared when people were going to exit the page, and installed the JavaScript on the page and launched it. It took us less than 2 hours, and they didn't have to change anything on their website. If you'd like to learn more about Unbounce or how you can use it to create landing pages and pop-ups, just go to unbounce.com/demo. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can find out more. You can get a demo. You can play around with this new tool we've got. So you can just play around with the builder without having to put your credit card in. And yeah, that's a good place to go. And I think we've got time for questions now.
Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes here. Thanks so much for going through all that, Corey.
Yeah, my pleasure.
If anyone has any questions, you can use the chat over on YouTube Live. I wanted to just kind of throw up a softball question here.
Should we get off screen share?
Sorry about that?
Should we get off screen share here? Let me see if I can switch to faces.
You can see that we're actually human beings here.
Yes, in a log cabin.
I am in New York City, or maybe it's like a DJ booth. I think that's what we're going for here. But I'm curious, in your 5 years at Unbounce, like, what are some of the things that have surprised you, or what are some of the things in the last year or two that have changed in the landing page industry that have maybe surprised you, or something that people should be aware of?
You know what? The biggest thing for me is that we at Unbounce live in a bubble, and we think that landing pages should be everyone's top priority, and we of course everyone's thinking about this kind of thing, but and when we started the company, because I've been here for quite a while, when we started the company, it was something that was top of our mind, where we were like, no, you got to stop sending traffic to your website. Like, this is a big deal. You got to stop doing this. And then over time, we've said it so many times that we assumed everyone knew, but actually when we go back and look at the market again, everyone's still sending traffic to their website, which might work fine, and you might be getting conversions, but you just don't know what you're missing out on. And so we found, and this is the first presentation in a long time where I've realized that I have to say that again, because it's still true. So that's the biggest surprise that I've seen, is that people still just send traffic to their website.
Yeah. And I'm wondering with I mean, the barrier to entry with something like Unbounce is so low, and that also means that you can iterate much more quickly on testing small features like you showed with the A/B test example. How often should, even companies like AdHawk, like, I manage our own marketing site, tryadhawk.com, and I'm always trying to have at least one test running at all times. But what is like the proper cadence? Should you always have a test running? Where is like the best place to start for people who have never tested their landing page, and to just throw a third question into all of this? How often should you be testing? I know there's this statistical significance and all that, but you want to talk about some of the testing best practices?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna share something with you that I haven't really brought up too often. But I used to work with this guy named, actually, I still work with Michael Agard. So Michael Agard's this like conversion rate optimization like thought leader. He knows all about this kind of stuff, and he opened my eyes to just how important statistical significance is, and how it should be like top of your mind constantly, and how if you're not running tests to like, I don't know, to a point where like the math works out, then you're just sort of kidding yourself. And so anyway, all this to say, that's the thing that you need to figure out first. You can't always be saying like you need to run a test a week or a test a month or anything like that. It depends on how much traffic and how many conversions you're getting. And you can literally just type in A/B test calculator, and in there you'll be able to go in and type in the amount of traffic, the amount of conversions you have, the amount of lift that you might expect from a landing page test, and then it'll tell you how long you have to run that test for. So that's the best way to do it. But when he and I were talking to PPC professionals, we were talking a lot of times about ad testing, not necessarily landing page testing, and it was crazy how often people weren't testing their ads to significant results, because it's just such a common thing, I think, that happens in the industry, where people A/B test or ABCDE test their ad copy, and Google doesn't tell you like how many conversions you need to get out of that, or how many impressions and clicks. And so you just sort of assume that it's going to be fine, and you run with it. But yeah, it's like a crazy pervasive thing where people are running tests with ad copy or with landing pages, and it's not going through to like actual real results.
Yeah, that's super important for both the pre-click and post-click optimization stuff here. I think, we at AdHawk here, we have a statistical significance kind of calculator built into all the recommendations for PPC optimization. So we have internal kind of score that we give every tip, and if it doesn't pass an 8 on that threshold, it doesn't go out to the client, even if we're pretty sure. But if we're not, positive that the data is backing up the claim that we're making, like, we can't service that client. Which, it's unfortunate because it does limit, people who are trying to iterate quickly, people who are trying to learn a lot about their ad accounts or a new campaign very quickly. It requires kind of rapid ad spend if you want to do that. And it does limit a little bit, how effective software can be if you're only spending, a couple bucks a day. But once you get past that threshold where you can start to optimize, like, you can really scale an account from, $2,000 a month to $10,000 a month really quickly if you're iterating fast and optimizing based on correct data. I don't want to use too much of everyone's time here. Thanks so much for hanging around. We did have a couple questions in the chat. One from Hill Technology about one of your competitors' ClickFunnels. If you want to address what is Unbounce's differentiator from something like ClickFunnels or some of the other builders out there?
Yeah, I don't know. I know ClickFunnels for sure. I haven't actually used the tool myself. I will say, kind of like in general, not specifically to ClickFunnels, but just in general with our competition, our differentiator is that you can build whatever it is that you want with these pages. So a lot of times in other builders, you get a bit more of a restricted template. Maybe you can change copy and background image, and you get a bit of freedom. But with ours, you can move everything around. And not only that, but when you switch to the mobile version of it too, you can make the mobile version entirely different from the desktop version. So it's a bit more just customizable, I think.
Cool. And one other question that we had is, what is your experience? This is from Scott Cuddy. What is your experience with how much the landing page experience influences quality score? I think this is specific to AdWords. I can touch on some things, but you want to start off, Corey?
Yeah. I think it's about, Google calls it about a third, right? So Google, I think, calls it something like a third click-through rate, a third landing page, and a third something else. Do you remember?
Yeah. I'll share a link. I'll share a link after this to our kind of guide to quality score. We have a nice little infographic of how the calculation works.
And then within that third of like whatever, so within that third, the 3 points out of, or 3.3 points out of 10 that they attribute to landing page, the landing page experience is a portion of that. So if it's horrible, then it's a fairly significant part of your quality score. But if you're just bringing it from like a C to an A, then it's not going to save you a ton of money. It always helps. But yeah, we can definitely make a case for why landing pages are valuable in terms of raising your quality score. But I think the main value there is more often just the conversion rate lift.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. I'll share this how the quality score calculation works after this. One interesting company that I came across recently on AdWords who's using very targeted landing pages to competitor AdWords searches. This could be something that you find interesting, Scott. If you go to pandadocs.com/alternatives, you'll see that PandaDocs bids on every brand that every competitor that doesn't have a trademarked brand. And then they have a landing page for each competitor that speaks specifically to, not bashing the competitor, but speaks specifically to the features and products that are most kind of advantageous against that competitor. So if you go over to pandadocs.com/alternatives, you'll see a company that's utilizing customized landing pages specific to competitor keyword searches. And I think that you can kind of reverse engineer what they're doing there and why it might be effective for them. And we've talked with them, and their search is a huge driver of conversions for them. So that's obviously crucial for them, the landing page experience and ad experience. Let's see, any other questions today from everyone out there? Thanks for filling in the info there, Scott. All right, well, thanks so much for stopping by with us today. This was quick and easy and super helpful, and I hope that everybody came away with some actionable tips. Anything you wanna leave with, Corey?
No, thanks for having me. It's been great. And if you have any questions, then feel free to hit me up on Twitter @CoreyDilly, and I'll get back to you.
Great, and I'm @BobbyStemper. If you'd like to chat with Corey or someone on the Unbounce team, you can reach out to us. They'll talk to you about landing pages. Likewise with talking to the AdHawk team, and you know where to find us now.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks.